what can people do, Peter? Your last chapter really focuses on solutions. Tell us what your view is of the solutions that are within reach, the things that people can do to show that they disapprove of any kind of human manipulation of the atmosphere.
Yeah. I mean, I got three things. Two of them are on the state and federal bills, the state bills moving through state houses, and there's been three federal bills about banning the spraying of substances for weather modification. It should just ban the spraying of substances for any reason, really. Particulate matter is bad for us. But there's a couple of groups that you can get involved with if you want to start promoting these state and federal bills to ban the spraying of all this stuff. So there's a website, Reclaim Our Skies, reclaimOurSkies.com, and these people are organizing all these state bills. They can get you involved in working on these things and promoting these things, and so there's that. And then there's also another group that's involved in doing this. They have a website called AmericansForACleanAtmosphere.com, and it's the number 4, not FOR, the number 4, AmericansForACleanAtmosphere.com, and they have a little button at the top that tells you how to get involved. So, you have two flavors of getting involved in the state and federal bills. And then I'm also endorsing something called the Geofight, thegeofight.com. Now, I'm not a legal expert. I don't know how strong the hand is that they're holding, but they do have a whistleblower. Justin Mabie, Mabie. There was a NOAA group up in the Boulder, Colorado area, and they were just, trashing the historical record of weather data. They were moving it around. They were altering it. I mean, this is according to his whistleblower complaint that's been filed by these lawyers who call themselves the Geofight.
Peter, anything else you want to tell us?
If people want to look more in my work, it's peteracirby.com. And from there, you have all my links and everything. The thing that we really need to do that Mary has done, and she enjoyed it as far as I could tell.
Absolutely. No,
Is
it's a
reading my
terrific book. I strongly recommend your book, and the references that you give after every chapter are very impressive, right? This is a very well documented, very well researched book, and it's a tough topic. There's a lot of discord in the topic. I don't have to tell you, Peter. And because it's a topic that's really not even talked about in the mainstream or really in a coherent way in the alternative press, it's a tough subject, and I do find this book a really, really helpful introduction to the subject, and a deep one too. So thank you for it.
Yeah, well, I'm here to answer anybody's questions. I feel very confident that I can answer anybody's questions about these kinds of things. I have the evidence. I save all these things. It's in my books. I highlight, I annotate. I've made thousands of photocopies. So I'm a very good source for people if they have questions on these things.
Terrific. Peter, thank you so much, and thank you for sharing with us your book, Chemtrails Exposed: A New Manhattan Project.
Thank you, Mary.
Between supposed geoengineering, chemtrails, contrails, and artificial skies, I had stepped into a cloud of confusion. If I was going to clear the air, I knew it was time to speak with an official agency.
It's so nostalgic when you see the big puffy clouds. I miss these guys. We don't get these big puffy clouds in California anymore. It's so rare.
NOAA is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and their mission is to understand and predict changes in climate, weather, ocean, and coasts, and to share that knowledge and information with others. This is where weather channels and meteorologists across our country get their forecasts. If anything strange was going on in the sky, they would be the first to know about it.
So we made it to Boulder, Colorado. We are outside the NOAA Research Laboratory. That is this facility that you see in the background. I've had no luck finding specific phone numbers, and I'm also not hearing back by email. Is a walk-in a smart move? I don't know, maybe not. I've actually been advised to not show up here unannounced like this, but with how confusing and equally concerning this topic has become, I need answers.
I'm interested in speaking with someone on the atmospheric science research side, or more simply, a media representative that can provide us with an official statement of NOAA's. As in regards to everything that's happening right now, we're not having the greatest luck getting a hold of anyone, really.
Fishing around for phone numbers is a really bad idea. I will also say that they're not going to call you, plain and simple. You people have tried that and they all failed badly. The last time that happened, we actually had federal police talking to them. It doesn't go very well.
Okay, yeah, that was unexpected. They were not happy. I went in and spoke with security. He would highly discourage me from snooping around. Good luck with anyone responding. He told me that if I don't hear back, that's because no one's willing to talk. Oh, we have cops right here. Do you guys work for NOAA specifically, like on campus?
No. We work for a Department of Commerce. So we're federal.
Okay.
So we do federal, state, and local
I mean,
law.
obviously you don't have to tell me, but is the documentary like leaning towards one thing?
Yeah. So it's since 2021, I've been looking at an exploration into geoengineering as a method of fighting climate change, and
So that sounds like NOAA so far.
Absolutely. This is one of the leading organizations in our country that's receiving federal funding to do some of this research.
Everything I have to just get you guys' names real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have can I have your ID,
Yeah.
please? And yours as well, please.
Okay.
Something. So
I'm on the list now.
yeah, we're watching you.
Apparently.
That's when I discovered a gag order that the U.S. government had placed on agency employees of NOAA, as well as the National Weather Service and the Department of Commerce. What in the skies was truly going on here? NOAA is the very agency that monitors the atmosphere and forecasts weather. It's even in their mission statement to share this information with others, and they're being federally gagged?
Well, it was the first of a series of NOAA gag orders, and this was in 2009 under the Bush administration. So it was a commerce-wide order that tried to control information that came out, particularly on areas that were sensitive, like climate change. So in many cases, documents that discuss climate change were censored or suppressed altogether. And to our surprise, even with the advent of the Obama administration, things didn't change. And under Obama, NOAA put out another directive that was even more restrictive that said employees couldn't discuss whether or not they were adequately staffed, whether they had the right expertise. Basically, anything about the way the organization worked could not be shared with the public. That remains the state of play today in the Department of Commerce and NOAA even now.
Now, why would NOAA have that gag order, or why wouldn't they be allowed to speak freely, or the National Weather Service?
It's about control. The National Weather Service is the last place you would expect national security style secrecy rules to be enforced. It's the weather. Everyone should be able to talk about the weather, but in this case, everyone can talk about the weather but the weatherman.
This investigation was becoming no different than our weather. It was getting weirder and more unpredictable by the day.
What did you say? I'm just being a conspiracy theorist, that's all. Here, come right here.
So, if weathermen weren't able to talk, I knew this was exactly who I needed to speak with next.
About the late 90s is when I noticed things were changing. Every day working, I was just recognizing that things were happening meteorologically that shouldn't have been. I was seeing the weather behaving in ways that belied manipulation. I had a show. I had 5, 6, and 10 o'clock, and I had a responsibility to an audience. What creates that kind of structure? And I got thousands of pictures. It's like, why would you end up with a pentagram inside of the eye of a hurricane? No.
A lot of the clouds that we are seeing now aren't necessarily water-based like these. They're not water-based.
Once I went public and my general manager knew what I was doing, he asked for me not to speak of it. And it's funny because that's why I dove into this, was to bring it to work so I could be a better weatherman. And by knowing the secret sauce of what was going on in the weather, you could do that.
We know from public documents that the United States has been involved in weather modification since the 1940s. And by the 1960s, almost every state in the United States had an active weather modification program, mostly silver iodide spread from the back of planes to increase surface area of clouds and make it rain. So that's been going on for a long time, almost 100 years.
Sci-fi films had me thinking all this stuff was some futuristic technology, but over 10 years ago, the World Meteorological Organization claimed that at least 52 countries, including the US, had active weather modification programs and that they've been used around the world for over 7 decades.
That's why we said before, this is not new. We've had these projects happening all along on smaller scale. We're just looking at the most modern articulation with the technologies that are now available and the extrapolation into the atmosphere.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds.
Patent after patent and stacks of declassified records revealed not only extensive research, but millions of dollars invested in government experiments.
I mentioned the flooding in Rapid City, where they seeded the clouds and created a flood that killed many hundreds of people.
Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive.
And we also know that the monitoring and the accountability for those projects has been basically non-existent.
Every single newsroom has been pinged with the chemtrail question, pinged with the geoengineering question. And now that we're talking about solar radiation management, and then there's the community talking about what we're already seeing, what's happening. So there's all thousands of eyes on this topic, and some of them will be brave.